Hello, my friends. Welcome to my timeline. Are you afraid of the dark? Halloween is fast approaching, and I'm one of those people who has never been into scary movies. I find them extremely overwhelming, and I would find myself scared for days to come if I watched anything remotely terror inducing. I used to be afraid to look in the mirror. I had to have lights on in every room. And I just had this feeling that there was a presence with me every time that I watched something scary. What brought this on was my husband put on some trailers for some upcoming movies, and a few of them were horror or terror or scary, whatever the term may be. And as I came into this room today, the lights were off. I closed the door and I felt that sense again, that sense of uneasiness, that sense that I wanted to get the lights on as soon as possible. It's almost like there's a chill that follows me, and I feel this sense of being unsafe. During this time of year, the sun sets very quickly, and when I go out for walks at night when it's dark, not as much anymore, but one thing that would happen is I would always catch myself looking behind me and just feeling the sense that something was either following, or I was in danger, or I just felt this uneasiness. Are you afraid of the dark? I think I always have been. I think about these unidentifiable states that can come over you. And I'll do my best to speak from I statements and my own experiences. But I'm reminded of my anxiety attacks. They were all brought on in the dark. There was this sense that the darkness was overcoming me, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. It's quite an overwhelming feeling. The light feels so vast and endless, but so does the dark, but in a completely different way. I've been thinking about the myth of Inanna, and I was reminded by a friend and one of our beautiful community members about Persephone as well. And there's quite a few different myths and stories surrounding this concept, so I'm probably not going to be able to do it justice in the way that it needs to. So if this sparks an interest, take that time to research and understand. But there's this connection with Venus, and there's the morning star and the evening star. And it talks about Venus's time, or Inanna's time, or Persephone's time in the underworld with Hades. And so we have this like Plutonian energy associated with Hades, and then we have the Venus energy in association with Inanna or Persephone, if I'm not mistaken. And I think, and I might be wrong, but there's also stories of having to go through several, I think exactly 7 gates in order to get to the underworld. And essentially it strips you bare of everything in order to get in or to leave. And I think about the feeling of the unending darkness that is the night, that is the underworld, that is the unconscious, that is the shadow. I've spent so long trying to push that side away because it's scary. It's hard to face. You feel lost and you feel scared. I often hear people at this time of year talking about how the veil is thin. And I believe we also celebrate, gosh, is it at this time? I'm thinking of like Day of the Dead, but I'm pretty sure that's like Cinco de Mayo, which is not this time. So maybe I'm totally not correct in that. But during this time, we speak about the ancestors, and we bring up themes of death and dying and transition and transformation. Obviously, the seasons are going through that right now, and there's a shedding that happens that I always feel like I can't quite put my finger on. I catch myself trying to hold on to the light during this time. When I'm outside during the day, I'm trying to feel the warmth of the sun and remind myself what it feels like to bask in the full glow in the middle of summer. But then I remind myself that it can't be high noon all day, every day. And there's this balance that must be achieved. And there's so much wisdom to be gained through these darker, more introspective times. Does anyone have any practices that they use for dealing with fear? And I'll specify not anxiety about the future or anything like that, but fear. Fear of presence, fear of entity, fear of unconscious beliefs, fear of the shadows. what do you do? Do you allow it to be? Do you try to alchemize and turn it into something of power or of light? You simply do what I do and just turn the lights on and just allow the shadows to be present, but not the full darkness. I hope that you're having a beautiful day. I hope you were able to share your light with someone, with yourself. I'm so grateful that you're here, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.